Hello, welcome to Global Intel. Did you know Africa could be the epicenter of global economics? With its population set to swell to 2.5 billion by 2050, the stakes have never been higher. But is the story one of opportunity or exploitation? Today, we'll explore Africa's role as the next economic battleground. Africa's economic potential is enormous. By 2025, GDP growth is projected at 4.3%. This growth is driven by a young, dynamic workforce and vast resources. However, 464 million people still live in extreme poverty. Major geopolitical players are vying for influence, including the US, China, Russia, and Europe. This is not simply about economic growth, it is a battleground where dominance and resource control clash. Let's dive into the crucial factors fueling this competition. Africa's rich resources are a significant draw. The continent possesses 30% of the world's mineral reserves. This includes 60% of the planet's arable land. Minerals like cobalt and lithium are crucial for sustainable technology and energy storage. For instance, the Democratic Republic of Congo produces 70% of global cobalt. As nations pursue net zero emissions, these minerals have become treasure troves. China has secured $1.7 billion in Ethiopian deals, while Western firms are eyeing Nigeria's $10 billion in resource trades. However, we must question the narrative. This resource boom often mirrors colonial exploitation. Profits frequently leave local communities, causing damage and minimal local gain. In 2022, climate hazards cost Africa $8.5 billion. Next up is Africa's demographic scenario. With a median age of just 18 and over 70% of the population under 30, it's the youngest continent. By 2050, it could gain 740 million new workers. This demographic dividend promises a consumer market worth $3 trillion by 2030. Cities like Lagos and Nairobi are thriving, offering opportunities in fintech and agribusiness. Yet, this growth carries risks. Only 3 million formal jobs are generated each year, leaving 12 million new entrants without options. Over 60% of the population lives in poverty. Many young talents are leaving for better prospects abroad. Optimism surrounds Africa's youth, but infrastructure gaps and political instability are worrisome. Could this youth bulge turn into a crisis without adequate investment in jobs and education? Now, let's examine the growing geopolitical competition. Global powers are intensifying their efforts in Africa. China's Belt and Road Initiative has invested $300 billion since 2005, building infrastructure but also creating debt. Countries like Ethiopia and Zambia find themselves in distress. Meanwhile, the US has the African Growth and Opportunity Act, boosting non-petroleum trade to $3.8 billion by 2019. However, it is set to expire in 2025. This race is not about altruism, it is strictly strategic. The US-China rivalry plays out intensely here. As US aid decreases, African leaders demand investment rather than mere handouts. Critics argue that foreign powers exploit weak governance, as evidenced by numerous coup attempts and corruption across the continent. This begs the question: are these nations helping Africa or fostering dependency? Infrastructure and trade are the next battlegrounds. African trade costs are significantly higher due to poor infrastructure, 50% above global averages. The African Continental Free Trade Area aims to increase intra-African trade from 16% to 50% by 2030, a massive growth opportunity. South Africa's 2025 G20 presidency will likely prioritize meaningful advances, focusing on food security and advanced technology. Yet, progress remains uneven. Central Africa struggles due to over-reliance on oil, while East Africa shows promise through diversified growth. However, foreign investments often overlook local needs. With a funding gap of $11.9 trillion needed by 2040, Africa's leaders must align development with local priorities. But there are challenges. Governance instability deters much-needed investment. Climate-related shocks and high levels of inequality threaten overall progress. Countries entering foreign deals often find themselves trading resources for loans without securing long-term growth. Ultimately, the narrative depicting Africa as a miracle often serves external interests. During previous growth phases, economies boomed but left most of the population behind. Currently, 85% face food insecurity and youth unemployment exceeds 25%. If equitable policies are not implemented, Africa could be left vulnerable, enriching outsiders rather than its own people. In conclusion, Africa's future as an economic powerhouse hinges on leveraging its strengths. Global powers see much to gain, but the risk of exploitation looms. At Global Intel, we believe Africa must steer its path ahead, utilizing its resources and young workforce wisely. If today's video piqued your interest, like and share it. Subscribe for deeper insights and stay informed. Together, let's pursue a future where Africa thrives on its own terms. Until next time, stay engaged and informed with Global Intel.